Hey everybody, welcome back to Wiki Good Sports. This is At the Buzzer, and we're joined, as always, by Jack Tiernan. Jack, how you doing?
Brian, we're doing good, man. Maybe not so much for the Celtics, but otherwise we're okay.
Yeah, so name of the game today. How worried should we be, Jack? Slay it on
Uh,
me.
I'm worried, man. Straight up.
Yeah.
I think it's scary. We're getting to a point where we're losing against bad teams, and this is kind of the opposite of what we did last year, right? We were really worrisome out of the gate. We were like, what is this team? Like just kind of relegated. I personally had relegated to like maybe make the playoffs, maybe we don't finish there. Um, but now, I mean, we finished hot, right? We had a finals appearance. Um, we started hot, I would say, with the best offensive rating for a while in league history, on track to get that. And now it's like, what are we doing? Where are we? I mean, sure, Rob's out and he's our defensive anchor, but the fact that we're relying so heavily on him and still, like, if he's ever hurt again, which he tends to be, um, I mean, are we screwed? Like, is that what it comes down to? How are we going to stop Joel Embiid? How are we going to stop those big men that drive to the basket? It's getting scary. We're getting down to the wire here, and I don't know if this team can figure it out. Marcus looks like he's regressed in like uh, shot profile, right? Like just looks terrible. Tatum taking some really ill-advised shots as well. I mean, I think the only guy out there who looks like he has any idea what he's doing is Jaylen Brown right now.
If we could just put together the second half of last year in the first half of this year, team unbeatable, just
I might be like,
amazing.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
would have
I don't know
been
what that record would be. It was stupid.
right. It'd be real good, I think. But
Sure.
yeah. So speaking of Jalen Brown, he had some comments recently about like he was asked, of course, like, do you want to stay in Boston? And he had like a very vague answer where he was kind of saying like, I want to play where I'm wanted and I like where I'm needed, and I don't want to basically be not wanted or needed. So yeah, Jack, does he not feel wanted in Boston? And are you worried about this at all?
To be honest, I'm less worried about this than I am the Celtics as a whole. I think Jaylen Brown, if he makes an All NBA team, which in my opinion I think he should, between first, second, or third, any of those, he's eligible for the Supermax contract, right? And no player in NBA history has ever turned down a Supermax contract. For those of you who don't understand what that is, just quickly, if you get to a point where you're on an All NBA team and you're on a max deal, you are eligible for that Supermax, which is only something that the team that you're currently on can offer you. So he can't go test restricted free agency and get that. It's basically, okay, you want to stay on the Celtics? We can offer you a Supermax. We're the only team that can do that. I don't think he's going anywhere, frankly. I think that if he was going to go anywhere, he probably would have requested a trade at this point. I don't think he's like that. I think he's just kind of an ambiguous, amoebic type of personality, right? Where he's going to say things that aren't really like, this is how I feel. Um, there were a couple of questions in that interview too, where it was like, hey, like, how do you feel about Kanye right now? And he's like, I'm not going to answer that. Like, that's kind of the tone of the interview.
Pretty
So
smart answer, to be fair.
exactly,
It
like
was
if
like,
like that's the thing with like the media and Jalen. I feel like there's always this kind of like tense air because Jalen is not about that really. So I think for the most part, that's kind of what that was more an inkling of than anything else. I think Jalen does feel
it's a
wanted. I
pretty
think
unfair question because,
it
like,
is.
what does the US have to do with the Celtics or basketball or,
I mean, the only thing would be the Donda Sports thing, right? Where he did that and Jalen signed with him, and then that was over with very
yeah,
quickly.
but
And
that
then it
was
was like,
before like
right,
everything happened. So like, I don't know.
right,
I feel like
exactly.
you're just trying to get Jalen in trouble by
Of
asking that
course.
question.
And
I feel
that's
that's really unfair.
I read that question and I was like, what are you doing? Why would you ask that? And like what he's gonna answer. Like there's no way Jalen is too well versed in interviews to just be like, oh, like I like Kanye, like he's the man, like there's no shot. He's just gonna
Right.
deflect and go to something else, as
Yeah.
anybody with half a brain would do. But Jalen is smarter than that by a mile.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
I I think, yeah, I mean, I think I don't want to say he was baited into those answers, but he definitely was like I think he does feel wanted here, right? Like he talks to, I mean, if he didn't feel wanted, we would have traded him for Kevin Durant, point blank. So I
Right.
think that's where we're at. I'm not too worried about it, if I'm being totally honest with you. I think he signs that extension this summer, which he's probably going to be eligible for, and we don't have to worry about that for another 3 years when Jason Tatum is eligible for free agency, and then the whole cycle starts again.
Yeah. People just love to start, the drama
Like the stir
around it.
shit. Yeah,
Yeah, they,
right.
they do. But I mean, they've just been so fun to watch. I would hate to lose Jalen. So happy that you think that he's gonna stay. But
Yeah. I hope so. I mean, it like you said, it would suck to lose him, I think. He is such a big part of our offense and just like that identity of the Celtics team as a whole. If we lose him, I feel like he really is a calming presence. Him and Al are kind of those guys that are really rooted. Rob as well, I think you could add into that, where a lot of the other guys, I don't want to say like, I think are more emotional than those three particularly, right? Or at least like can let their emotions kind of get out of control. Whereas you have these three guys who really are rocks for the most part. Um, and that's something that I value. I think that's something that a lot of Celtics fans don't value as much as they should. Um, we got to appreciate these guys because Jalen could very well walk, and then we're like, "Wow, why are we bad?" And it's like because you're missing a legitimate second option, and that's what it comes down
Yeah,
to. A
yeah,
one A, one B situation, really.
definitely, definitely. So, what do you think the Celtics really need to do to fix this little like skid they've been on?
My my answer is going to be blunt, and it's get Rob back. I think is what it comes down to
Yeah,
because like we don't really have a bona fide center outside of Rob Williams, right? If you think about it, Cornette actually, I have to say, played very well against the Jazz the other night. I thought he was rock solid. Um, he got a good amount of minutes, and he was solid. There were periods where I was like, "Oh yeah, that's Luke Cornett, the G leaguer," and then there were times where I was like, oh, "Okay, that's Luke Cornett, the backup center." But I definitely was like, "Yeah, we need Rob back." Like Luke, no offense, if you're looking in the paint and you have to choose between Rob Williams and Luke Cornett, you're picking Luke almost every time. I don't care how bad Rob's knee is, you're still taking Luke Cornett to go up against. Um, so I don't know, man. I feel like we need to get Rob back. Rob really helps space the floor. He opens up everywhere outside of the paint. He can stay in there. He blocks shots. He's just a defensive behemoth. Like I miss that. I miss that. So we get Rob back. I'd like to say that that'll solve all of our problems. I don't think it will. I think Smart is feeling the pressure because Brogdon and White are playing so well, and he's trying to make up these like chuck up these bricks right now, and it's not looking good. So you get Rob back. I think that solves a lot of our problems.
definitely. I mean, he's so good, and like you said, he's just
Yeah.
such an important part of the team. I did see he practiced today, so
Yeah.
that's good. Hopefully, he'll come back strong. And I mean, this team is so talented. To be playing like
Yeah.
this, it's like, oh, it's so incredibly frustrating. And it's similar to how we were feeling at the beginning of last season, where I'm just like, this team's good, they're just not putting it together. And I do think, look, Joe, I love him, but he's a first time head coach. He's gonna
Yeah.
have these growing pains, right? And he's gonna have to learn how to adjust. And it's
For
gonna
sure.
the Celtics are gonna like go as far as he's gonna be able to go, right? Like he's gotta show that he can change up stuff when things aren't working. And I think that's kind of where they've been struggling a little bit. I don't know if you agree with that, but
Totally.
yeah, so we'll see. I mean, I don't want to be like it's over, um, but we'll see if they stick with Joe after the season. I think it will depend a lot on how far the Celtics go, because I do think if you maximize the talent, this team can definitely win a title. It's just coming
Yeah.
down to coaching a bit.
I think so too, and we lost Damon Stoudemire because he's a college head coach now, who was a big part of that coaching staff, to be honest. I mean, you're right. Like Joe, I think just needs to. He's kind of hitting these growing pains at this point. It really is a coach. I mean, you look at some of the things that have happened though, to be honest, and I don't think you can put a lot of the blame on Joe, right? Like for examples, I don't think he drew up that play for Grant Williams to drive it to the hoop on that last, what was that against the Jazz? I doubt that was, give the ball to Jalen Brown, or that was probably a give the ball to Jalen Brown who put up like 18 points in this freaking quarter or something like that. Anybody in their right mind, like he just needs to not try to outgame the system. Is what it comes down to. Play it well. You have the talent on your roster. Just do it. It's fine. Um, I mean, the talent is here. We know the talent's here. It's just a matter of okay, we got to get it together in the last, I think less than a month now. We've got I think 2 weeks left really. Our last game is on April 9th of the regular season. So it's
Yeah, it's coming up fast.
that's going to be here really quickly. So it's really important to get Rob back into the fold, make sure that we're feeling good about that. Um, to be honest, from a seeding perspective, I feel okay about where we're at for the first round. That gives us another opportunity to kind of get right. As of right now, we're not playing the Heat, which I like. I don't really want to play the Heat. They're kind of volatile. So give me I don't even remember who we're scheduled to play. I think it's the Nets, hypothetically, if all the standings stay the same as it is, which I know we had trouble with Michael Bridges particularly, but I think, we profile as a better team than them. So I could certainly see us going in there not sweeping necessarily. Maybe the Nets steal a game or two here or there, but we can make easy work of them and have that other opportunity to get us right again.
Yeah, hey, we swept them last year with a better roster. I don't know if
For
that's
sure.
controversial to say. So,
Objectively, yeah.
yeah, I mean, Katie and Kyrie. So,
I mean, it can't beat
yeah,
that. I mean, you
right.
can, but
You
it's
get it.
tough to
Yeah,
we did.
we did. Yeah, exactly. All right, Jack. Anything else you wanted to touch on before we get on out of here?
No, I think that's it, man. I'm looking forward to these next couple of weeks, though. This is really going to be the identity of who these Celtics are in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, 10 more games and then we get some playoff basketball, which, is always so fucking fun.
Always
I
fun.
love it. So,
Me too, man.
hopefully Katie will come back for the West because I want to see the Mavericks play the
Have
Suns in the
Suns, please.
playoffs. That'd be
Please. We need it.
incredible. But we'll be covering it. Ryan will be back too. He's busy today, so he can jump on. But yeah, the three of us will have you covered top to bottom, regardless of how long the Celtics stay in the playoffs. We'll keep pumping out episodes. So, Jack, anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
Sure. Best place to find me is on Twitter, and that's at Jack_Tiernan. Follow me there for all my NBA takes. And like Brian said, especially as these playoffs are coming up, we'll be tweeting a lot about that stuff. You can also follow my disc golf account. That's at at Jack Disc Golf on Instagram. Follow me there for disc golf content.
Yes, check him out there. The channel is on all social media. Search Wicked Good Sports, except for Twitter. It's just Wicked Good Sports. We'll get the Wicked Good Sports handle
Get
at
the
some
S.
point. And then
Will.
I am on Twitter at the fake BMar. It's BMARR. Jack, thank you so much for your time.
Of course, Brian. Thanks for having me.
We'll see you all in the next one.